how you can pass KCNA, tips and hints, plus we're going to talk about the 5 mockup questions. Hello, so I just passed KCNA, my first certification on my way to Kubestronaut, and in this video I would like to share with you some details on the exam and how I managed to pass it. So today we will discuss firstly the experience with the exam, how difficult it was, what was the passing score and how much time is needed to prepare. Secondly, hints on how you can learn the material from the curriculum faster. And thirdly, we will go through the 5 mock-up questions with the explanations so you can also assess the difficulty level and your preparedness. So these are very similar ones to the ones that I had during my exam. And lastly, we will discuss whether it is worth or not to take this exam. So this YouTube video is also part of the longer series on Docker engineering, but in Become DevOps we regularly write and talk about the all DevOps related technologies. You can watch about Ansible, Kubernetes or Docker projects in our videos. See the link in the description. Part 1, the exam itself. So there are a few things that you need to know in order to pass this exam. So first of all, the number of the exam that you need to pass to get the certification is just one. You will have about 90 minutes and about 60 questions that are multiple choice questions. When it comes for the scoring, the results are giving us a percentage with the passing score of around 75% as far as I remember. And the validity period of the KCNA is 3 years. But the exam itself, how difficult it was. And I would say that really depends on your experience with Kubernetes. So the difficult part of the KCNA is definitely a wide array of the various topics that you need to understand. Let me explain. You need to learn domains such as, for example, Kubernetes architecture, services, processes, different cloud native tools, basic of the security, networking, sidecar containers. So there are a lot of useful stuff, but I would say that if this is where you start with your cloud native journey, it might be a bit difficult to navigate. But I have no doubt that these are very useful skills if you want to work with the cloud native tools, especially with Kubernetes. So the curriculum isn't really deep, but it's quite broad. And it's really the difficulty to remember many different things about many different topics. Part 2, materials and hints to pass. So my best advice to pass KCNA is really to get hands-on and start working with Kubernetes as much as possible. So spin up a local cluster using tools like, for example, minikube or Kind. You can also use the cloud environments like Amazon services or Linode to experiment with the setups. And then once you already have the cluster, learn the core Kubernetes concepts such as, for example, pods, deployments, services, namespaces, basic kubectl usage. Make sure you can read YAML file and understand what each of the field does. Of course, not in very much detail, but you need to understand the overall structure of the YAML file. Networking is a key in Kubernetes. Understanding concepts like pod-to-pod communication, services, DNS, and common tools and commands such as, for example, ping, traceroute, netstat, IP, I would say it would be very helpful for you to grasp the concepts behind the Kubernetes networking. Security fundamentals really matter. So know about airbag, like the role-based access control, basic really cluster security concept and how the authentication and authorization works. This is not the certification that is for the with the security in the main scope, but it's definitely something worth to know, and it's nicely just built on top of your knowledge when you use the Kubernetes. When it comes for the resources, I would say to use the official resources from the Cloud Native Computing Foundation. Their KCNA materials and curriculum really covers everything that you need to know. I don't know how many hours I have spent just reading Kubernetes documentation, and I think it's really fantastic document that is very easy to navigate. They explain basically everything that is needed to pass KCNA and even more. And of course there are so many different YouTube materials, but also Udemy courses, Medium articles. There are just so many materials created by the different developers to learn from. My last advice to pass is practice questions. Practice, practice, practice. So use mock-up exams and quizzes from the different sources to test your understanding and get familiar with the exam style. Part 3, mock-up questions. So, right. Now let's look at some of the mock-up questions for KCNA that I wrote. These are not the dump question, but it's something that I developed for this purpose of this specific video. Question number 1. A node becomes unreachable due to the network partition. So pods that are on node are still running. Why might user experience intermittent failures before pods are recreated elsewhere? A. Kubescheduler delays the pod creation. B. Kubeproxy may still route traffic to the endpoints on the unreachable node. C. Replica set deletes pods too quickly. And 4. etcd removes pods records immediately. So the answer is B. So when a node becomes partitioned, there is a delay before the control plane marks it's not ready and removes its endpoint. So during this window, Kubeproxy may still forward traffic to the pods that are effectively unreachable. Question number 2. You are on call and the new deployment stays in the pending state. Nodes are healthy, but Kubernetes reports insufficient CPU. You want Kubernetes to react automatically without manually adding nodes. Which component is responsible for resolving this situation? A. Horizontal pod autoscaler. B. Kubescheduler. C. Kube control manager. Or D. Cluster autoscaler. The answer is D. The cluster autoscalers. Well, this element monitors unschedulable pods. So when pod cannot be scheduled due to the lack of the resources, it adds more nodes automatically. So once the demand decreases, it can also scale nodes down. This is critical for the elastic cloud native environments. Question number 3. You are debugging a microservice architecture where service A cannot reach service B. You run inside the pod curl http://service-b8080. Result: could not resolve the host. What is most likely the cause? A. The service B resource does not exist in the namespace. B. Kubernetes pods cannot communicate via DNS. C. Services must run on the port 80, or D. curl cannot resolve internal services. And the answer is B. Kubernetes provides a DNS-based service discovery. If the DNS name cannot be resolved, the service resource likely doesn't exist in the same namespace or it was misnamed. Verifying kubectl get SVC is the first debugging step in this type of cases. Question number 4. A pod is deployed. So we have a pod with the following manifest using the busybox image with the following security context parameters with the privilege true. We have some volume and which of the statement about this Kubernetes manifest is true? A. The container can modify host files and escalate to root on the node. B. The container is limited to its file system namespaces. C. The only read access is allowed. And D. Network policies prevent local file systems access. And the answer is of course A. So privilege plus mounting the host allows the container to manipulate the host file systems, kernel modules, and potentially compromise the cluster. So even strict RBAC or network policies do not mitigate that. This is one of the most common misconfiguration leading to compromise of the cluster. Question number 5. The API server is started with token of file equals / etc Kubernetes token CSV. What does this enable? A. Dynamic OIDC login. B. Static bearer token authentication. C. Certificate rotation. D. Service account auto creation. And the answer is D. The token file defines the static tokens mapped to the user. This is a simple authentication mechanisms often used in testing or legacy setups. It is not dynamic like OIDC and not recommended for the large production system. So I hope you like it. I created the set of plus 360 questions waiting for you on Udemy. If you want to test yourself and your Kubernetes skills, I made this test setup for you available on Udemy for the dedicated to help people preparing for KCNA. I'm going through all of the domains, providing the both practical and theoretical examples of Kubernetes. It's a 6 full-length practice exams that mimic the real exam. There are both multiple choice and fill in the blank types of questions, just like at the exam. The link is in the description. Was the exam really worth it? In my view, it was absolutely worth it. KCNA is an excellent start in your cloud native journey. If you want to go further with the, for example, CKA or Kubernetes certified Kubernetes developer, definitely KCNA is a good start. It allows you to grasp the first concept within the cloud native world. This is fantastic certifications. All in my view, the questions weren't really that difficult. Even though I don't have that much experience of Kubernetes, like for example 10 years,